Hey everybody, it's Erin from Erin Makes, and welcome to Card Making Wednesday. Today we're going to be making Christmas cards, and the best part is we're going to be using only one stamp to do 3 completely different cards. And the stamp is from Prickley Pear Designs. Welcome to the show. So we're going to have a ton of fun today, and without further ado, let's flip over and let me show you what the cards we're going to be making what the cards are we're making today. And also don't forget, all the links for all the supplies we're using today are down below in the information section. Okay, so let me flip my camera. Here we go. Da-da-da-da. Here it is. And hello everybody who is on. Welcome, welcome. I know I'm a little bit later today, snafu, children sick, all that fun stuff. It's just that time of year, right? Okay, so look at the super cutie cards. Let me show you guys the stamp set we are playing with. Let me get my backer here so you guys can really see it. I'm just going to put it on a sheet of paper so it's a little more obvious. This is the brand new stamp set from Prickley Pear Stamps. It is called Rudolph and Santa. And look at the cutie little Rudolph. And we have the Santa here, which is actually still on my stamping block. We've got lots of wonderful, oops, there's a glare, wonderful, yummy sentiments. We've got just snowflakes, all kinds of fun stuff. So the cards we're making today are playing with all the different variations of all those sentiments. Playing with the Santa, having fun with that. There's also dies that go with that. I personally did not use the dies, but you totally can get the die set that goes with that. Playing with just the snowflakes and the sentiment, keeping a very clean and simple card. And then this fun one, which is a little peekaboo card, and playing with the Rudolph. And then this is also kind of a fun one with the Santa as well, as it pops up like this. Okay, so let's jump in. Let's do the ink blending one first, because something about ink blending. I'm into ink blending right now. Y'all go through phases of what we love and what we like, and right now that's my jam. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to play around with it and do some different colors. So instead of hitting the teals, we're going to hit some blues here. So we have a couple of different colors of blue. And I've pulled out pretty much all the base of the card. The base of my card is craft cardstock. So here is the craft. And then here we have our back and our black to kind of as a little extra hint. And we got lots of wonderful people on. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Pam. Hello, Sharon. And then I picked just a different color blue. So this one, I kept the teal identical. All the teal colors the same. This one, we're going to go with 3 different shades of blue for fun. And then we have our main page. All right, so how do we do the masking? There's a lot of different ways that people like to mask. Personally, I don't have any of that fancy tape. So this is my workaround for the tape. So I'm going to take just a sheet of card. This is a sticky mat that's really been well loved. And I'm going to place my card down here at the bottom, and I've cut this down to be 1/4 inch each time. So the teal is 1/4 inch, and then this white one. So this white sheet of paper is 3 1/4 by 5, because it's a full 1/2 inch less than the main side of our card. Now all you need is, I'm just going to use copy paper, and we are going to use my washi tape, there it is, it's right in front of me, and washi tape. So since this mat is sticky, which means that the card doesn't fall off, makes it really easy to do this. You could also use like Post-its. If you've got like that thick mint tape, that works as well. I'm going to go 1 inch down from the top, and I'm just going to line this up here. This is creating our mask, so the inch, and this is just a little bit longer, and we're going to create a 1 inch panel in here. A little bit less than 1 inch. We're going to go just a tiny bit less. I'll show you why in a second. It doesn't have to be perfect. It does need to be straight. So however you do this, make sure it's straight. The sticky mat makes life so much easier because I don't have to worry about having like the special equipment. So now I've got my base of my card, this is just copy paper, nothing fancy paper. And then I'm going to take my washi tape, so that way when I ink blend, I don't get into these little pieces, because this is not stuck. It's just stuck on the edges. So just a little bit of thin washi tape, if I can find the edge. You guys have this problem too? Never find the edges. Take your washi tape. And we're just going to go a little titch higher, not too much higher, just a smidgen higher. I like this washi tape for this because I can see through it. So, and then run it. And now I've got a nice clean border, and it's not going to get through, and I can stamp over that, and I can do all the fun stuff that I want to do. Now I'm going to get another, I always should do 2 of these when I do it. I never think about that. I'm like, I got it. I got the one. And then I'm going to do another layer. So you probably can't see this, but as I get close, I can see the paper on here. And so that way I know I'm like just over that edge and then line that down. So now I've created my little matte border in there. And I'm going to use, this is a brand new little ink blend holder. Look at this. It even has a little Lazy Susan in there so you can spin it around. I only put the 2 colors that I'm using in here right now. So I'm going to pull out my blue. I'm going to do the lighter blue for the ink blending. And I can go kind of all over here with the ink blending. I don't have to stick just within my little space because all the rest of it is just my mask. So I can come off and blend in. We're just creating like a snow flurry. However you like ink blending, go for it. I went a little heavy on that one spot. I should have gone up and come down like I was suggesting. And I always, every time I start to ink blend, I always am like, bam, right in the center. And I screw, I end up, so just keep working in that one spot, come down and blend it out. It's okay if that one little area is just a tad bit darker. Don't worry about that. I don't want to go too dark. I feel like I am good there. Now I've got a little bit of blending going on. You're using some weeding tools. Yay. Oh, using your weeding tool to get it started. Oh, for your washi tape. Yeah, I have my little kitty cat here, which I love, but sometimes I have to get it started. Oh, there it goes. It wasn't too far off. But I like this because it has this and it's just cute. It's adorable. I love my little kitty cat. I forgot I had it sitting there. All right, now we're going to take our, and this whole mat is going to go into the Misty. And I got to pull out the Santa that I have not put away. So here is the Santa and the ho, ho, ho. There is 2 other stamps. I did not take this out when I was done using it. That's how it goes. I'm going to put it back in here before I forget. I am the world's worst person. I pulled out my Misty today and I realized I still had the stamps in there from last week. When I did the live last week, I hadn't used my Misty since then. And I neglected to put them back in here. Go figure. All right. So if you guys are ever interested in getting and changing up your colors on your Misty, I got mine at Prickley Pear. They have a few different colors available. So if you're interested in changing it, I love teal, so I went with the teal, but any color that is your jam, go for it. I think there's a white. I think there's a white. There might be a black. I'm not sure. It depends on what's left in stock, but I know the teal is there. And so you just pull off. I had a little short video that I put on my Instagram and my YouTube videos and stuff like that, but they've got the stickers. You just replace them. And then like, I love teal. So all my teal stuff is all together now. Okay. So in the stamps, we are going to pull out the snowflakes. So I'm just going to pull the backer off and we're going to start layering snowflakes. So we're just creating our little background. So basically we're mimicking, I'm done with my ink blenders. We're mimicking this right here. So we're pulling all these beautiful snowflakes that are on here. There are tons and tons, and just line them up as close together as possible or as far away as you want. We're going to do a few different stamping renditions of this. It's up to you. I like to work from one side and go to the other. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individual little ones. And then there is the line of them. Oh, you guys can't see that. There's also the line of snowflakes as well. So whatever floats your boat. Keep in mind when you're doing this, you want to have some that go off the page. It looks a little bit more realistic for whatever reason than if you just try to keep it within that line. And remember, you have your mask with the washi tape and also with the paper that's on there. So it's not going to get underneath. It's going to create that little border strip. All right. All right, let's get that part out of the way. Now we're going to use the darker blue to stamp this. So this is where we're going to go for a little bit of a darker. The first one I used was Splash. I just happened to have 2 blues. And I was like, for this one, I used the same color. I only had the 1 ink. Sorry, that's my dog. I only had the 1 ink. So I lightly ink blended and then went back with the same stamp color and got the darker color with the snowflakes. So you could do that if you wanted to. Let's see what it looks like if I use a darker color instead. So that one was all the exact same colors, including the paper. I tried to match it as true as possible. This one is shades of blue, so a little difference. Now where it is. I also have my awesome little stamp tool felt on this side. There's blue and there's red. Blue seems to fit with the card for today. So look at that, just more blue. And I feel like those are pretty good. I don't feel like I need to alter them or tweak those in any way. So now I'm going to just clean these off because I'm going to repost them on a new spot. So I'm going to move them over. Let's put the big guy right here in the middle. Let's move this one right here. We're just creating our own little background paper. That's the wonderful thing about these awesome, cute little stamps is that this guy can shove in there. And if you feel like there's a gap, you can always go in and add another stamp. So I'm going to have to do another one because I'm going to put one there. So I'm going to squeeze these in as close together as possible. There is a little bit of an extra gap. So if you notice, I really went tight on those stamps there, but as you put them close together, there's still going to be a gap. So it's not like they're touching after they're stamped. The extra acrylic on the stamp is going to prevent you from doing that. So don't be shy to put them close together. Stamp it up. And these are such cutie snowflakes. I love them. They're adorable. There we go. That looks pretty good from the first pass too. I mean, it's a hint of that snowflake, right? All right, I'm just wiping it clean so I don't, when I move my stamp. And let's do the big guy again, right there. And now I can go in because I have this little tiny guy. Maybe I'll add it again right there. The other ones, I think I'm good. So I'm going to put them back on here because they're so tiny. I don't want to, well, they're not super tiny, but they're tiny enough. I don't want to lose them. I had the hardest time earlier. I was like, which one went with which? And I was like, does it really matter? Probably not. For some reason, I had to put it back exactly where they came from, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So Sharon is saying we have the white and teal stickers for the original Misty stamping platform, which is this size. So if you guys can see, it's 6.5 by 8.5. This is the original Misty stamping platform. This is the only one I've ever had, and I have used this one for years. And I feel like I id a brand new Misty by just changing out my stickers. It's like, I don't know. I had the pink thing going first. Plus, I really did a good job like cleaning it when I did the stickers or when I replaced the stickers. It's all kinds of fun. Okay, so now we've got that part done. We've created our background. The only part I'm going to pull off now is this bottom one. Don't worry about if this rips. This is just your mask, and it's just copy paper. I did not do thick paper on purpose. So pull off the washi, and look at that nice clean border right there, because this is your main base right here. Nice, beautiful border. My luck, you're almost finished. No, we just started. This is the first card of 3. We just started. I am just midway through this card. Okay, now we are going to pick out our stamp. I love these stamps for this reason, because I feel like there's a very, very clear defined line. Oops, there goes a little snowflake. There's a very clear defined line on the stamp about where I want to put it. I initially thought about doing this one, but it just barely fits. My card is just too narrow, and part of my W and part of my S would get cut off. So I'm not using that one. But make sure my stamp is nice and clean so I don't leave an image while I'm placing. So I'm just kind of wiping it off that you just saw off camera. It looks fresh. See, it's nice and clean and fresh, except for the gross mat that I have on here now. So now I'm going to place my stamp, and there's a very clear defined line. I want the M and the C of the Christmas to pop through. I want it to come out there, and all the rest of the letters, because it's a very like stiff font. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It's very straight. And so there's a nice straight line that fits perfectly for this kind of card. So when I saw the fonts on these, I was like, ooh, this idea would be perfect with it because it's so linear and I can follow that line and it would just like go perfectly on there. But other sentiments work, but this particular sentiment was perfect for this. Okay, so now we're going to go with black to really emphasize. And of course, it's like buried under all my paper. One day I will show you guys a picture of how crazy it is over here. Ink it up. Your favorite black ink, whatever ink you prefer. All right, we asked the manufacturer to make it the base straight. See, look at that. And you can really see it. Because I've gone lightish in the colors, I wouldn't go super dark with the colors, but I've kept most of the word off of the color and kept it in the white. It's just a hint of it. Do a second pass on there. It's really going to like pop and shine. And then there it is, super easy. Look at that. And all those little snowflakes really make a really cute background. It's adorable, but that stamp right there, that sentiment stamp, was really the key to make it look crisp and clean because it's so linear. And that was why I went with that concept, because I liked it. I have a friendly way of demonstrating. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I guess it's better than being angry. I don't want to be angry. I want to be happy. All right. Now we're going to peel off our other mask. Look at that. Look how pretty. And this is where I always screw up. I always forget. I got to look at my fingers and make sure like my hands are not all dirty. This is disgusting. So I'm going to get just a baby wipe real fast because when I pull that off of the mat, I don't want to get my mucky fingers all on it. So I'm just going to do a quickie clean of my hands because I did it with the other one. I pulled it off and I realized I still had like black ink on my thumb and I left a smudge. Not super obvious, but obvious enough to me when it's like, it's one of those really clean and simple. And the clean is the key thing to this card. So keeping the white super white and not mucking it up. So, all right. I think I'm clean. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Okay, so now it's the now I've got fuzz on me. It wasn't a very wet wipe, but I think it got the job done. And God knows how long those wipes have been in there. So the sticky mat gives it sticky, but it's also enough of a release that it releases. So there we go. I've had to re-stickify it and it's done an okay job. All right, so there is I did a clean pull. I didn't get smudgies on it. Yay. Something about the fact when I don't make messes on my things is just awesome. All right, clean up my space here so I don't get muck on everything. And then now let's go back to all our layers. So with this card, we went with teal. So we had all of our teal layers. With this card, we're going to do all the blues. So we have all the different shades of blue. All right, so now we've got our layer here and fold. We're going to add in our black. So this stamp set is massive. I know I have it up backwards right now, but just the glare is going to be crazy if I try to. Let's try and do this. Okay. I don't want to go too big on my screen because you're going to see all the crap I have. Plus I have to readjust it if I did that. So I'm just doing a very, very thin black mat, super thin. I just went down by 1/8 of an inch, just that little hint. So that way the black stamp does not look weird. It's not free floating and just in the middle of nowhere, right? But just look at all the stuff that is in this stamp set. There is a die that goes with it, which I think is phenomenal. And then we're going to add our blue. So again, that black is just that little hint. You could also do this on a white base, but I thought the craft base, because there's so much white happening in the card, the craft looked a little bit nicer. You could also go with a black cardstock base for this card and get rid of that extra layer of black. So you wouldn't have the craft in the back there. There we go. And then a little bit of a thicker mat here between the white and the blue. And then there they are. And you could have a ton of fun with that. You could have fun making it red, pink. You could do the whole rainbow. You could have whatever colors you want to make your snowflakes. The simplicity of that. You could also turn your card sideways. You could have your strip going along here or even up at the top. And then you could use the longer sentiment because that fits along this way wonderfully. So it could go either direction. I was going to use the warm holiday wishes on a different card, which is why I kept with the Merry Christmas for this one. But that is a really cool card you can mass produce. You know, you have a whole bunch of your backgrounds and then you just layer it up. You can do all the snowflakes at one time, do all your ink blending at one time, and just kind of a really cool way and a super easy way to do a mask on it because it's just copy paper and washi tape. Super, super simple. And even if you don't have the sticky mat like I do, you could always just take out your regular paper trimmer and you could layer it on here and use all the markings on your paper trimmer as your guide to like, okay, I want to have my mask go here. And so you're using the measurements on here as you lay your card down to decide exactly where that 1 inch mark is. Having that be straight is really kind of important to making it look clean and crisp and nice. When it goes long, unless you want to do like a diagonal stripe, that could be really cool too. You could have all kinds of fun with that. So easy technique, fun technique, and a great way to use some of those little stamps that you have on here, like the snowflakes. Okay, you could even have fun with the little bubbles on there because that could also be like little snow falling. So you could add that into the mix if you want to as well. Okay, my mic is doing something weird. So this is card 1, our masking technique with the snowflakes. I think this one's my favorite. I don't know. I have a hard time deciding sometimes. I like all my cards because they're all fun in different ways. All right, here is our second card. And again, we're going to change up the colors on this one. I just decided to do something a little bit fun and different. So in the stamp set, you get this really, really cutie little Rudolph, and it is dressed in a sweater. This is the cutest Rudolph ever. I love it. And so we're going to play around with the Rudolph. So what I did is I took a card base. I attached this one. I did green, and I wanted to find a piece of paper that looked like it was kind of sweaterish, you know, somewhere in that. And so I layered the front panel, and I just took a circle die, and I went ahead and die cut that. So now I'm popping the die cut off, pull off that extra washi tape. And now we have our little peekaboo window because our little Rudolph is peeking through. Now I screwed up on this one, which was I forgot to take off the background. We're going to use this circle. Okay, we're going to actually reuse that circle. Hang on, I got to get this out of here. It's stiff. There's 2 layers of paper, and it's kind of going, I don't want to come out. I don't like you. There we go. All right, we're going to use this again, but what I want to do, because this is too thick, this is getting a little caught on here. I want to peel off the extra. So I did glue it together. Let's see if this will come off. Here, I didn't do a really heavy-handed job. There we go, of adding adhesive. So it should come off. We're just using this as our snowdrift, so I don't need to have it be perfect. There we go. Now I just have a singular sheet of paper. Instead of cutting a whole other circle, I'm like, I'll just use the circle that's in there. Why not? Okay, I also, from the same pack, I grabbed a different circle, same circle, but a different color. And this is going to be our background. So for this one, I kept with very light colors, pastel colors. And then for this one, I went with like more darker colors. So it just depends on what you're interested in. We're now going to build our little snowdrift for our cutie little snow guy. This was such an easy thing to color. I'll have to show you how many colors. I have them all off to the side here. This is how many colors I used, and they're all different. It's not like I did a whole lot of blending. It was just for each little layer of the sweater, I had fun, and I just like colored each layer of the sweater, and then I picked an ornament and then colored that. The hardest part about it was just the blending, and it wasn't even that hard. It was just the face of the little reindeer, and then his nose was just, you know, a pretty little red color. So it's just playing with fun colors. You don't even have to have ink blending anything. You could do this with whatever markers, pencils you have. Super cute little Rudolph that you can make. I love the sweater. It's adorable. So now we're going to build the snowdrift. The easiest way to do that is from the circle that you had cut out from the center after you pulled off the red. We're going to make 2 snowdrifts. So I'm going to go a short one like that. So there's one snowdrift. Turn around. Now we're going to make a taller snowdrift. I can always amend it. There we go. I didn't mean to do 2 passes. I always like to do my snow whenever I'm making waves. This could be grass. This could be snow. This could be underwater sand. I try to do it in one pass to make it nice and clean. So now this is mimicking like the night sky or like a little peekaboo window and he's standing outside in the snow, right? So we're going to build the bigger one on the bottom. That's your first snowdrift. And I just like to line it up first. The second snowdrift, we're going to go a little cattywampus, meaning that we're going to angle it over. So now we've got 2 layers. What I think I'm going to do for this one, and I forgot to do it for that one before I did it, so we can really see the separation. I'm going to take a tiny, tiny little bit of ink, and it's still on my blending brush. And I'm just going to go in and just do a tiniest little bit of blue on there for both of them. Just so when the 2 whites are on top of each other, it becomes a little more obvious that there's white there and there's 2 layers. Okay, so let's add our adhesive. There we go. There's the first circle. And this is where I screwed up. I forgot to take that off. And so these layers, there's like 5 layers of paper right here. I didn't mean to do that before. Whoops. Add our second little snowdrift. There we go. And I'm going to go, I was going to have go this way over here. You could layer them right on top of each other, but now you got 2 snowdrifts. And then we're going to take our little Rudolph, and our Rudolph is going to stand in the middle of the snowdrift, just like that. Really cute. Now, there's a lot of different ways that people like to add their smaller die cut elements. I personally love this little guy. It's a sticker maker. I could have done it with the 2 little ones, but I feel like I don't want to rip or break or have a problem. So this just turns everything into a sticker. You just pop it in, you roll it, it catches. So it's inside, it's catching and it's pulling, and it's going to pop out on the back end. And then you just rip this off, go one more pass. And it's called the Xyron Create a Sticker. This is the mini size. It's awesome. It just turns everything into a sticker. Can't be simpler than that. So just kind of rub, 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 and then peel this off, and this whole thing is a sticker. It just added sticky side to the back side. So easy. Now we're going to tuck his little feet into there. So he is resting in the snow. Ta-da, just like that. It's like a little snow guy. And then now when we go in and add him to our card, we're going to add adhesive all the way to the back circle. And when I cut the circle out of the front of the card, I left enough space down here at the bottom so you could put your sentiment. And I like the word, warm holiday wishes for this. So now I do this from the front end. I actually line it up so the card is closed. And then I pull it through, and that's going to come in and really narrow this down. Yeah, a little more adhesive right there. Right there. There we go. So now it's a perfect little circle, and you can see it. See him right there. Adorable. All right, now we're going to add our sentiment. So I took that same blue, and it had a solid color on one side and gingham on the other. And I just wanted to have a little bit of a change. I also could have pulled out green, but the green didn't make sense for the background, right? So that's why I picked blue. It's like a gingham-y. It reminded me of a sweater. That's why I went with that cardstock. It was an old paper pack I've had for forever. Forever. I don't like the gingham on the gingham. You might, which is awesome. But for me, I'm liking that alternating, that's not a word, between the gingham and then just that little bit. It's got a little bit of a texture to it. I mean, it looks textured, but it's not textured. And then I stamped the word holiday, warm holiday wishes from the stamp set. And because it's so linear, it fits great as like a little panel here at the bottom. Look at that. And I was thinking, which we could do together, is that there's a wonderful sentiment at the bottom, and it says, as the warmth of the season fills the air, may love, joy, and peace surround you everywhere. And I forgot to do this on the inside. The warm refers to, well, as Rudolph's sweater. Love the snow. Oh, thank you. Yeah, see, like the warm, because he's nice and warm. But we're going to see if this fits. Oh, it just fits. I don't know if that's going to be a little squishy. I don't know if that's going to fit. If it went up a little higher, it might have worked. But we can definitely do, but I already have warm holiday wishes, warm winter wishes. That's a little, I was trying, I don't know, is that too squishy, guys? We can always try one. Let's try it. I mean, what's it going to do? This is where you have fun, right? All right, so let's pull this out. I don't need this right now. You guys think it's going to fit? All right, we're going to place our card in here. Oh, I can get rid of that washi tape. I don't need that there. Let's try it. Sometimes you don't know if it's going to work until you try it. All right, so let's line this guy up. I need to get my other, there we go. I think it's going to just fit. Just. Remember, whenever you have acrylic stamps, there's always a bleed through. So I'm going to go and I'm going to hug this as close as I can. I'm trying to get from side to side. I had to face it the other direction. Stamp it and cut into strips. Oh, I could do that. I'm a little too lazy to do that. I will admit that's a little too much work for me. I'm not sure if I would have the patience to do that. That's a lot of stamping, I don't know. Go for it. By all means, have at it. I think as I was sitting and fussy cutting out this deer, I'm going, fussy cutting is not my jam. I am not a fussy cutting kind of person. I get into coloring sometimes, especially when I have a little cutie guy like that. I get into it. But I like ink blending. I like coming out with, I like stamping parts. Like the first card where I was blending and stamping and creating my own backgrounds. I think that's a ton of fun. I love fun folds. All right, let's take a look. Everybody likes their thing, right? That works. Oh, and I did not center it very well. So I get for doing it. I should have turned it and looked at it. It's a little off, but you get the idea. It fits. It does fit. I'll leave the other one alone, but you get the idea. It totally fits underneath there. And that's a great sentiment to go inside the card, which I think is phenomenal. All right, so that is our second card. Let me take the stamp off. I'll let you guys peruse those cards real fast while I pull off the stamp. So do you guys have like no-goes? You're like, nope, not doing that. That's not my thing. Like I'm not going to go there. That's too much work. That's not something I enjoy doing. Or is there something like almost on every card, you're like, yep, I'm absolutely going to do that. So look at that. So you could also, if you wanted to, you could put a little, bleh, there's words trying to come out of my mouth that are not working. You could put a little ribbon up top. You could turn this into one, like an ornament or like a snow globe kind of a look. So it's a little off and it's how they know it's handmade. I know, but it bugs the bejesus out of me that I know I could have made that better. Like that should not, it should have been, and it's a little crooked too. Live, if that was the real deal, I would have ripped that off and I would have started the whole card over again. I would have ripped that off and recut the circle, but it's not live. I would not post. I'm weird like that. I'm a little type A, but also not type A. Sometimes I'm like, it's good enough, but that's a little too outside of my realm for okay. Anybody else like that? I don't know. I don't know. I'm weird like that. So that is our second card. If you joined us a little bit later, this was our first card where we did masking, where we had a ton of fun. Can you guys see my little, it's on this one, my little smudgers. I don't know if that shows up very well. And Sharon just said, this is one of her poems. I love it. So if you don't know Sharon, who's the owner of Prickley Pear, she is a poet and she absolutely knows it. Haha. Total pun intended. So she has done some amazing poems, and some of her poems have also been translated into her stamps. So she has just divulged that this is one of them. So lovely. I love that her poems are making their way into her stamps because she has amazing poems. All right, let's get into the last one. This is with the Santa. So here is our cutie patootie, a little Santa, super easy card. We are going to add one little amendment to this card, which I didn't get a chance to do. So you'll see that in a minute. I'm too hard on myself. Well, you know, I think we all have our faults about what we're good and we're not good at. And apparently condemning myself on live TV is one of my things, apparently. All right, so let me leave the card up there while I grab the supplies, which are buried under my desk. This is a cute card if you're looking for kind of a fun, easy, fun fold. You're not wanting to go like break the bank on tons and tons of papers. And so this is also one where if you're like, you like stamps, but you don't want to do the dies, but you want to use the cute stamps and you don't want to fussy cut because maybe your hands are not allowing you to fussy cut. Or if you're like me and you're like, fussy cutting is not my thing. I'd rather die cut the thing. Or if you like whatever, for whatever reason, maybe you are not able to bring your die cuts with you. There's lots of options for cards. And this is one of them. If you stamp the image and use that image, color it right where it is, then you don't have to die cut it. Turn it into its own panel. So that's the purpose of this card. So if you don't have the dies. So I went in my stash and I found this cute paper. I think this paper is about 15 years old. Dig in your stash. Some of you probably have Christmas paper left over from scrapbooking or who knows what. It probably has presents on it. So that was my jumping off point for the colors. So the back side of the paper was the presents. The other side is the red. I had one sheet left, so I was able to get two cards out of it. So here we have the matte. We have that. And then let's pull and make the panel. So this is actually all connected here. This is not a separate piece. We're just cutting it out. Super simple to do. You just have to know where to cut. So my favorite tool in the world, my paper trimmer, because I use it for just about everything. Easy, easy. First thing you're going to do is you're going to fold your card in half. And this is a it's a horizontal card. So instead of being vertical, it's a horizontal card. We're going to open up the card once you get a nice, good, clean fold here. And I am going to cut from the 1.5. So we're going to line up at 1.5, start all the way down, and we're going to cut up to our fold, which is 4.25. So just go all the way up, stop at 4.25. This works best if you've got a dice or a cutting system that's got a pointed blade. If you have a rotary, this is a much harder cut to make, but you could also score it. So let me show you the other method. That's method number 1. We're going to do 1.5 for both of it, for both of them. You could also take a scoring tool, line it up at 1.5, score it up to that 4.25 mark, or the to your folded mark. And then you could take scissors and you could cut along that if you have a different kind of cutting tool. So that is option 2. Just take, really big scissors and cut up that. I personally don't like that method. I just wanted to show you that you could do it, but I'm going to use my paper trimmer because I feel like I get a much better cut on that one. All right, and so since this is already at 4.25 because I didn't move it, we're just going to go down. There we go. So now we have this funny looking little card here. And some people like to keep the little flaps, and then you've got 3 separate flaps, or you can cut the little flappies off, however you want, right? So let's take our scissors and we're going to cut right along the seam there. Not really the seam, where the fold is, where the score is. And I did a really bad job of cutting there. It's okay. And then along here. Yeah, I could also put this in my paper trimmer again. I feel like that is easier to do with my scissors versus cutting because it's a shorter cut. I can do one cut, whereas this I'd have to cut, and I'm afraid I would make it wobbly. Whatever works for you. Okay, so now we've got that. So now it's time just to add all of our elements, whatever papers you have. Remember, I've got the cutie papers. So we've got our red because they're the opposites. So I know the colors are going to work together. This is the great part of having double-sided paper. Hello, Danielle. Hello, hello. We're going to do the presents side up because Santa in his bag is about to deliver the presents. That's where the inspiration came for this. Really, truly, any cutie paper you have would be adorable for this. Just think in your stash, what cutie Christmas paper do I have? And we always are, at least I am, and I get asked this question a lot. How can I use up my cute pattern paper? There's a lot of pattern to it. How can I figure it out? What can I do to amplify and to use that pattern paper? Well, this is one of those ideas. And because you have a big panel on the front, it's kind of covering up. It's not fighting with the paper, it's working with the paper. See what I mean? Because you have a big panel, it's not fighting with it. So now we're going to add the mat here. We're going to use that same red. Now for this one, I did cut it down. You guys tell me, do you like it cut down? Do you not like it cut down? And all I did is that our Santa was a little too short to fit on this. So I put the ho, ho, ho up top. It sounded kind of weird to put the sentiment below his feet because it made it look like he was standing on it. The only other fix or tweak I'm going to do is I'm going to take to this Santa, I'm going to take a little bit of gray. And this is my little, we're going to color this guy together. That's a little too dark of a gray. That was a GG. Here, let's try. This one might be darker. Nope, it's actually perfect. And I'm just going to do, so it doesn't look like he's free floating. See? Now it looks like he's kind of standing on something. So instead of having him free float on this, now he's actually standing on something and he's got a little bit of a ground and it's not just so in the middle of nowhere. It's a quick trick with a super, super little light gray. It almost looks like he's standing on snow, but it also could be like a shadow or like a dark ground. So there you go. Hi, Dee. Oh, thank you. Hit that thumbs up button. I love that. Thank you so much. It's a grounding effect and it's super simple. So I'm going to go ahead before we put all this together. So I'm going to do the grounding effect on this one. And I'm just going to show you what I did to color this. I usually skip the coloring, but this one's going to go pretty fast. See, that's it. That's all there is to that. It grounds the Santa down. All right, I've got a couple of colors. I got some really inexpensive markers. These are called Art Beat markers. There's 80 of them in here. I've used them for all the coloring in the cards, for both cards. And it's what I'm doing for the Santa. So I have a lighter color for the Santa, darker color for his bag, but I'm using the same 2 colors for both his suit and the bag. Let me explain how. I'm going to use the darker color to line, which is more of a vintagey color because this had 2 colors of red in it. So I feel like it worked for both. So I'm going to go along the edge here. I'm also going to hit his leg here. I'm really not being super careful about how I do that. I'm going to hit along here, basically on all the edges, a little in his crease there. We're going to go along the edge of his arm. And notice I'm not going all the way to the edge on this. And then a little bit in here, just like that. not too crazy. Now I'm going to take the lighter color and I'm going to go over top of what I just did and pulling that ink in and blending and making his suit be actually a little bit lighter. So he's more of a cherry color, more of the background color in there. All right. There we go. So coloring that in. If you feel like it needs a little more, and heads up, what I color on whenever I'm coloring is the Nina White cardstock. It's the same base cards paper I use for all of my cards. I get it on Amazon and I get it like in a giant ream. It's 110-pound cardstock and it is awesome. I use it for just about everything. It's for all my card bases. I use it for printing on my printer. I use it for coloring. It's my go-to white. Oh, I forgot his hat. Forgot to do his hat. Now, I am by no means a color expert, and I've played with a lot of different colors, but I feel like if you are just getting yourself started and you are wanting to learn how to do a little bit of ink blending, not go crazy and not break the bank, these are pretty decent. If you're wanting a higher level of marker, Prickly Pear Stance has the Erin markers, and that would be what I would call like the next level up. So once you've got kind of like your feet wet and you're like, yep, I like coloring, this is where I want to go, get yourself some better markers. And the Erin markers are definitely an upgrade from that. And they are in the Prickly Pear store. And there's a nice variety of colors that she has in the store. So now I'm going with just the darker color only and doing his bag. So they're kind of matching, but they're also separate. I'm just lining the border here. I wanted them both to be red because he doesn't carry a black bag. It's not a brown. He carries a red bag of presents, right? That's what he carries. But I wanted it to look a little bit of a different color than what he is, but not too different, if that makes sense. And then I got to remember, oops, I'm doing the wrong color. I got to remember to do here. I'm going back to the lighter color again, and I'm doing the rest of his outfit just with the lighter color. And I'm totally getting into his fur on his outfit. And then I need to also remember, as part of his bag, and I forgot to do it on this one. I can do that real fast. Go in and add that little bit right there. And I forgot to do it over here. All right. Now I'm going to do his hands and his feet and his belt. Oh, I forgot to put the yellow on his belt. I forgot to do all kinds of stuff. It's so tiny. And of course I was having my daughter, she's like on the couch. I think she's napping right now. She came downstairs and got all ready for school and she just looked miserable. She was out of school on Monday too. And I was like, let me take your temperature. Let me just see where you're at. Lo and behold, 100-degree temperature. I'm like, you're not going to school today. You're done. You is staying home. And she just looked at me, kind of had this look of thank God on her face, and promptly went right upstairs and went and had 2 more hours of sleep. And then she came down, she's been watching TV, and now I think I told her the TV was too loud while I was filming. It's doing his little boots and or live, and I think she went back to sleep on the couch. There is bugs galore. I'm not worried about shading the black on his feet. If you want to get into shading your more, you can still tell it's his boots. Not a big deal, right? Okay. Anybody else? Kids all sick? Now we got to do the yellow of his, and I'm just going to test this one. I didn't even pull a yellow out. Oh, that looks good. It looks gold. And do the border of that. I think I'm going to go in and do the red. I don't know what goes in the center of the belt buckle. I think I'm going to make the whole thing yellow. We're just going to make the whole thing yellow. It's your card. You can do as you want. Now, here's the next part. I think, pretty sure, it's right up here. I think that's his, like the rest of his fluff, his fur. So you can make it whatever you want. All right, and then we're going to do just a little bit of his face. It's a little more peachy than I wanted, but it's what I pulled, and I'm going with it. It dries a little lighter. You can make your Santa whatever color you want. Okay, so on this card, I didn't do anything to the white parts. I left it all just the color of the cardstock, but you are more than welcome to. And I did not have it in this set. Just want to show you. I have 80 colors. They are a giant mess. It's in this nice little bag, so it's great for being portable. But this is the set. It's a really nice set. I did not have a good, like what I would call, but that's as good as white. It almost looks white. And what I do is I just go in and I just kind of color. If I'm going to leave one white, if you wouldn't notice it, this one I'm actually going to color it in. And as I do his beard, I'm just doing little circles to make it look like it's fluff. I'm going to do that for all of it. It's okay if there's some little white spots. It looks like it's got some shading happening. Look on his eyebrows. There we go. And a little tough down here. It's okay that you leave white. Don't worry about it because you're trying to mimic the idea of white. So now you tell me, do you like it with the coloring of the light or leaving it white, white, white? It's up to you which way you want to go with that. There's no wrong way to do that. And do I mix my pens around? Because these are Arteza ones that I have. I also have Copics. I also have Olos. I have every marker under the sun. It seems like a little bit of everything. I tend to do a little bit of everything. Now for this one, I did cut a little extra off the top of this card so you could see more of the red. This one I'm going to leave. I'm not going to trim it. All right. It's always nice to see, well, what if, change it up. If you're making a few different cards, change it up and see what you like and see what you don't like. No point in keeping it all the same, right? All right. So now this goes on there and there it is. Cutie little card with that little Santa. And when I set this up, this would be a great card to come in and you could mass produce it because you can set your stamp up. You cut the piece of paper that you want for the front and you just stamp, stamp, stamp. That's what I did with both of these. That's why the stamp was still in my Misty. And then you cut all your papers, you do everything in batches. You tend to add sparkle to the white of Santa's just to add that little extra. Ooh, I do have a sparkle, but I don't know where it is right now, but I know what you're talking about. I think it's on the other side of my table. I have like a big desk and then I have more stuff like on the other side of the camera. I'm not going to go get it, but that is a totally great idea. You could do like stickles on there. I've also seen there's like a, I don't know, there's like a sticky stuff and it almost looks like it's true white, but it looks like a paint. You could add little wings of Stella, tons of stuff you could do with it. Have a blast with that. All right. So now for the card, everybody's like, well, where do you write stuff? This is where you can go in and you can leave it blank and you can do your writing on this. Or you can also tell people you can write on the back. It's up to you. You can also add a panel. Now, remember when we cut off the sides, you could come in. This is a little narrow, so we're going to cut a wider panel because we can. So this piece right here, I actually need to measure that because I'm not sure how wide that is. So let's measure. And then we're going to stamp it. So we're going to leave it. We're going to put a sentiment on the inside as well. So this piece is 2.5. So I'm going to cut it to be 2 1/4. So let's cut one to be 2 1/4. And let's test it. I'm going to go 4 inches. I'm going to go 1/4 of an inch down. And let's test. So if this goes here, it's going to fit right in the center, just like that. Do I like that? Yeah, I do. So now let's stamp that. Or you can leave it plain. We're going to do, I like showing you guys options. And therefore, it doesn't feel like I'm just repeating the card that you've already seen. I like to vary it up a little bit because fries the spice of life. All right, there's one more sentiment stamp we have not used out of the stamp kit, which I think would be perfect for this, which is Warm Winter Wishes. So we're going to pull that. The only other thing I have not pulled from the stamp set, because we have used everything else, are little snow bubbles right here, and this snow, the snowflakes in a line. But everything else we've used at least once, if not more than once. So we're going to pull the Warm Winter Wishes now. And we're going to go up to the top here. And that way you have space down here to write. So we're going to go towards the top of that. Excuse me. Did not mean to cough in your eyes in the mic. All right. And then we are going to stamp that up. And if you are curious about some other amazing inspiration, there is a wonderful design team that is puff paint. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Puff paint. Somebody was like, it's puff paint on the beard and on the fur. But the design team has some amazing inspiration that is going on to the Instagram. It's going on to the website. If you go to the site where you find the stamp itself, you can also, at the bottom, there's a scroll at the bottom, and you can see some amazing ideas. Simple little stamp right there. Amazing inspiration and more concepts of what to do with this particular stamp set, along with all of, oops, I need that part, along with all of the other products in the store. So if you're just like, I love that stamp set, and you saw it and you bought it, and then you get home and you're like, I don't know what to do with this, go to the website. It's got some awesome ideas. All right, so now we have all of these. We're going to place that right in there. You could also just do the panel and not put a sentiment inside of it. So I'm just going to do this as centered as I possibly can see. So right there. So when it closes, it's smack in the center. And there it is. That is our third card with that little center cut panel. And somebody was mentioning the puffy paint. So just in case anybody's popped in after, you could totally take puffy paint and go across all the different parts of him. And I just realized I also forgot to do his lips. So I need to do his lips real fast. There. With little detailed stamps. Sometimes I just miss bits and pieces of it. But you can have fun. And you can also do your Santa in non-traditional colors, and you can have a ton of fun with that. So this was the third card we made with a little pop-up. This one we added the stamp center in the center here. This one we just left it plain. Do as you wish. Have fun with that. Colored the Santa for this one on his beard. This one I didn't do anything. So whatever works for you. That was the third card we did. Second card we did was a little peekaboo with the reindeer. Look at this cutie little reindeer. I love the reindeer. And a little peekaboo on the inside. This one I left blank on the inside as well. And this one we added that wonderful poem sentiment that I, of course, misaligned. I'm still knocked myself for that one. And then the first card we did right here, these ones are with all of the beautiful snowflakes that are in the die set, or sorry, in the stamp set, masking, creating, ink blending, using all those wonderful snowflakes to create that one background, and then that beautiful linear stamp set that makes that Merry Christmas. But you could also use the Warm Holiday Wishes stamp set if you turned it sideways and you went horizontal with your card. Same concept, but just a longer strip that is horizontal. So lots of fun ideas, totally different from each other. Lots and lots of different techniques here, all using one singular stamp set. And it is called Rudolph and Santa. Here's the packaging. She even has some wonderful coloring ideas on the back, which I love. And so this is the stamp set that is just been released. I believe it was released last week. And there is a die set that goes with it if you love dies to go with your stamps, which I personally do. Is for the Rudolph, it's for the Santa, some of the snowflakes, and also for the ho, ho, ho. So you get lots of cute elements. But this is a jam-pack stamp set. You get a lot out of this. I mean, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 sentiments, a wonderful element to put inside your card, 2 really big focal points that you can play with. You can also put them together on the card like they have done here. Whoops, that's some awesome glare. You can have a ton of fun with that. So, and then all those really cutie snowflakes. So much fun. Snow, much fun. Ha, ha, ha. So all the supplies are listed down below. You can get them over at Prickley Pear Stamps, along with lots of the tools that I was using today, including the super fun stamping tool to help you guys stamp. And then also the ink blender. It's the ink blend storage, and it's got the little lazy Susan that I can spin around so you don't have to it's nice if it's in there. You could also, if you want to, pop that out and it becomes a little separate tray to hold stuff. Lots of options for that as well. And if you want to get the stickers for your Misty, Prickley Pear is like your one-stop shop. It's awesome. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out Prickley Pear if you're watching. They have a wonderful YouTube channel, lots of inspiration over their Instagram, and they have an amazing new design team that is just getting started, and a new wonderful coordinator that is totally awesome. So make sure you go check that out. And if you're over at Prickley Pear, I would love for you to come join me at Erin Remakes. We may have card making Wednesday every Wednesday, along with lots of other fun stuff, including shorts, live content of all kinds, and then also edited content. So thank you guys again. Have an amazing, amazing day. If I don't see you before Thanksgiving because you're traveling or out of town, have a wonderful Thanksgiving for those in the States. Those out of country, you're probably going, huh? Or you already have Thanksgiving, like the fellow Canadians. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys. Got to get to my little button there at another time. Bye, everybody.